Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome into another episode of HBCU Huddle. I am CJ Hurt, joined alongside as always by Mike Wallace. Mike, how's it going? I hadn't talked to you in like a month, right?
Which is why you can't say as always. As always.
Most of the time.
Yeah, joined occasionally. joined when he's in the city. You know what I'm saying? All good, man. Glad to be back. It's been a minute. It has been about a month. But man, the last couple of episodes you guys had have been on fire, and keep up the great work, man. Glad to be back with you and Kyra.
Yeah, man. Hadn't had Kyra for a minute either.
Oh, really?
So yes,
we've been busy, man. We've been getting on with our lives. What you been doing with yourself, man? How you been available?
Well, because I'm not busy. I don't.
Nah, this is what you do, yo.
GCM's got so much great content for you people, right? So the GCM app, the GCM YouTube channel, wherever you get your podcasts at, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you're getting them at, GCM has something for you. And I have found a way to not be involved in any of them. And that is some good stuff.
Nah, you're involved in just about everything.
Well,
you're involved. You're involved.
I hadn't taken on more. I hadn't taken on more.
You got the Jessica Benson show with CJ Hurt.
Yes.
You got Odds Couple twice a week.
Yep.
You got HBCU Huddle.
Yep.
All right. And then occasionally you pick up a Sneak Fest, don't you?
If I fill in. If somebody's out, I fill in.
Yeah, you pick up a Sneak Fest. And you got Grisby.
Yeah. Okay, so let me rephrase that.
You the hardest working man in. Hey, you like James Brown, man.
During the daytime, I'm a reverse vampire. At night, I got to get inside. The moon burns my
there
skin.
You go. I got you.
Everybody else is up here working late nights. I'm not that. Shout out to Roser and Jessica and Bennett and everybody involved in the Double Post show. Shout out to you and Lang for the success of the warm up that you guys did all season long.
Yeah.
I guess shout out to Kyra also. She's involved in both of those.
Man, Kyra is like the who's the hottest director going around right now?
Kugler.
I guess
Have
Kugler.
You seen Sinners?
I have not, and I will not. We'll get into that in a minute. But Kyra is the Spike Lee / Lee Daniels / Kugler. Like she's involved in everything.
Singleton.
And look, I'm telling you like this, man. Kyra about to have some. She about to go in and we talk about Jaren Jackson Jr. up for an extension. Kyra better go into the office this offseason and be like, hey, look. Pay me.
Supermax.
There you go. Supermax, Kyra. There you go.
We got a great show lined up. I do want to hear why you're not going to see Sinners.
Have you seen it?
I have. We can talk about it.
Okay.
Maybe in the next segment as we get off track. Already, Kyra, I'm letting you know what's happening right now. But there are things I want to get to.
We're scheduled to get off track.
We're scheduled to get off track. All right. So, we're going to be scheduled to get off track in the next segment. There's major Rock and Roll Hall of Fame news to get to. Shout out to everybody who got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We'll talk about that more later on in the show as well. Dick Barnett passed away. That's our culture maker this week. We'll share some of the stories around him, his legacy, and that Tennessee A&I team, not Tennessee State, Tennessee A&I team that won the 3 straight NAIA national championships back in the 50s, 57, 58, and 59, if I remember correctly. We're going to talk about all that and more, but let's start with the NFL draft. There were a whole lot of HBCU storylines going into the NFL draft and coming out of the NFL draft. Most notably, the Travis Hunter Shedeur Sanders piece of it. Both of them started off their careers at Jackson State. Then both transferred to Colorado, and now both of them made it into the NFL. Mike, how does it, when you see this and you see the journey of both of these young men from Jackson State to NFL, what goes through your mind?
That talent is going to produce at every level, and it doesn't matter where you start. It's about where you end up. If your goal is to make it to the NFL or the NBA or Major League Baseball, or at a director level at your corporate or your own entrepreneur, talent and preparation will get you where you need to go. You can't, people can be overlooked, but they can't be denied from that standpoint. And when I think about Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, they came into the SWAC. I remember the media day where they went to Birmingham and they said, we don't have to be here, right? We could go anywhere in the country.
I think that's just Shedeur. I don't think Travis had
Travis
gotten
didn't
there
say it, but I
don't think Travis had gotten there yet. Because Shedeur got there before Travis.
Right, he came there, right. And to say that, hey, I don't have to be here, you know what I mean? This is something I chose to do. He lived up to it, man. And I know the controversy surrounding how he slid down the draft board and all of those things that went into it. I don't get too worked up over that part of it, but at the end of the day, he's going into a franchise that doesn't have a defined quarterback, and he has a chance to emerge and win that job. So kudos to him. Travis Hunter at the top of that draft at number 2. No team gave up more than what Jacksonville had to give up to get him, and he's going to be fun there. I love to see him back in that region. He's from the Georgia area, that Florida area. You see that kind of talent shine all the time there, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Jacksonville does with him.
He basically goes back home. I remember when Coach Prime, we were doing this show. We've seen some things doing this show. But I remember when Coach Prime was recruiting him. It's like, there's no way. Yet Deion Sanders.
I thought they came in together though, CJ. Now, they both spent 2 seasons at Jackson State, and they both spent 2 seasons at Colorado. So I think Shedeur is a year older than Hunter. But they came in together. Remember, Travis got hurt almost his whole first year or second year.
That might be what
One of those years he was hurt almost. He missed like 9 games that year.
That might be what it was.
Yeah. But at any rate, no, your point.
You might be
your
right.
point.
I remember thinking, okay, Prime is in on this 5-star recruit, and that's great. Cool thing to say. Nothing is going to come of it because you got to be outside of your mind to have an offer from not Florida International, not Florida Atlantic, not South Florida, from Florida State.
Yeah.
And you're from that area. You got to be outside your mind to leave that and go to Jackson, Mississippi. And looked up and Prime flipped him. Flipped him from Florida State to Jackson State. Jackson State was a top 50, top 40 recruiting class because of the Travis Hunter signing that year. Which is crazy for an FCS nationally, FBS and FCS, which is crazy. And then you see the success play out on the football field, those two being part of the teams that won the SWAC back-to-back years and then got to 2 Celebration Bowls and came within like that close to winning one against North Carolina Central. And you see that and you say, oh man, there's something about Prime and what's going on at Jackson State that is solid. Because of them, you get game day there. Well, one of the reasons you get game day in Jackson, Mississippi is because there was legitimate star power on that Jackson State team. Hell, you're talking about, we'll talk about some of the other signings, free agent signings in the NFL, post-NFL draft a little bit later on in this segment. But you're talking about a team that had a handful of players who right now are in the NFL on rosters, right? Collecting NFL paychecks, either being drafted or undrafted free agent signings. And you think about that and it's like, oh yeah, it makes sense for game day to be there in Jackson, Mississippi to capture this moment where this is truly a phenomenon in the sport. We don't see FCS programs do this. We don't see HBCU programs do this. And here Jackson State is doing this, capturing the nation's attention. And then both of them go on to Colorado and are really successful there, both getting their jerseys retired by the university. Travis went on to win the Heisman for crying out loud also. So, just a major tip of the cap. And when we look back on it, all these years from now, decade plus 2 decades from now, we'll be able to say, oh, I was alive for the Deion Sanders experience at Jackson State. And let me tell you, it was incredible. And it was incredible because of boom, 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 boom. Do you have a moment from their tenure at Jackson State that stands out to you, Mike?
I mean, you hit on it right there. Obviously seeing game day, come down to Jackson, Mississippi at a time when that community needed a lot to feel good about. Remember, Jackson had just gone through that water crisis. And it was there's a lot of poverty down there. There's a lot of, industry isn't just flocking to get to Jackson, Mississippi. There's some long-standing issues as it relates to, economic and racial divides in terms of how the political structure is there, the ecosystem. But at the end of the day, for that weekend, everybody galvanized around that, right? Money poured into the city. Freelancers had to be hired to help work all the equipment and all of the, things that went on into it. And Jackson was the spotlight of the nation on that day. So I think to me, that was it. That was the pinnacle of, and again, Jackson is always pumping on Saturdays at home games. Every single weekend, it's always something jumping there. Still to this day,
let the FCS in attendance.
They do it year after year after year, but there was a little bit more magic to it when you had Travis Hunter, Deion Sanders, and everything that was going on. And remember, like Deion brought in probably 12 or 13 impactful FBS transfers that year as well too. So, they had it rolling, and again, it showed me that yes, I kind of felt on the fence about Jackson and HBCU claiming Shedeur and Travis to a certain degree because they both did walk away from it. But what they did while they were there should never be overlooked, and they had tremendous starts to their career based on what happened at Jackson State.
I think Mo Carter, last episode that we had of HBCU Huddle, I think he hit the nail on the head. I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, yeah, you can, it's cool to claim them, but part of being claimed is going back and giving back.
Yes,
There's a need there at Jackson State. And for if they're going to be claimed, Shedeur and Travis, I think, love Jackson State. I think they're honored to be claimed by them. But there's an obligation and a duty once you make it to go back, show up on sidelines when you can, give a little bit here and there when you can. And that's something that for all of us as HBCU graduates.
And you did hit it on the head, because I remember exactly where I was when I was listening to the podcast, and he said that. I was right at the corner of Oklahoma City Park and Thunder Drive doing my 4 miles, and I stopped right there, and I was like, you know what, that is a good point, because this has to be reciprocated. Like, they have to understand that, yes, this is part of our journey too, and I hope that they never forget that part of their journey, because it's easy to say we didn't have the best facilities, we didn't have a lot of stuff going on there. The campus life wasn't as what it was when you talk about Boulder, Colorado. You can overlook that, but as long as they understand that they have a legacy that reaches and includes HBCUs too, that has to be a handshake and a hug and an embrace both ways.
Shedeur Sanders was the Black College Football Player of the Year. I'll remember that, and remember thinking, holy hell, this kid can throw the damn football. And yeah, man, tip of the cap to him. Congratulations to Shedeur and Travis Hunter. Wish them both a whole lot of success. I don't know what the Cleveland Browns are going to do, but Shedeur go out there and make it difficult for them.
Hey, they don't have a clear answer. That's the thing. No. They have 5 quarterbacks and no clear answer.
And so much about being a young quarterback is being free to make mistakes. And I'm not sure either of the rookie quarterbacks is going to be free to make mistakes, because the other one is always there. And with Shedeur Sanders, whether you like him or not, you something him. You absolutely something.
You feel some way.
You something. And so if Dylan Gabriel goes out there and underperforms, people who feel strongly about how good Shedeur Sanders is, they're going to come out and it's going to put pressure on the Browns to put Shedeur Sanders in. So Dylan, if he gets a start, he's not going to be able to make mistakes, because the second mistakes happen, be clamoring for the backup quarterback. If Shedeur Sanders is your starter, the people who hate Shedeur Sanders are going to come out of the woodworks every time he makes a mistake and be clamoring, see, I told you so. I told you he wasn't any good. I told you he wasn't athletic enough, or his arm wasn't strong enough, or what have you, to be a NFL quarterback. And that pressure will mount for the Browns to bench him and put in the other guy. I just don't fully grasp or understand why they made the decision that they made.
I see why they made it, and in some ways it reminded me of the reason why, at the time, my Washington Redskins drafted, obviously RG3, and Robert Griffin III in the first round, and Kirk Cousins in the 4th round, because one of them was going to work out, right? And once you figured out which one you wanted to work, one was the owner, one it was just fawning over RG3. The football staff loved Kirk Cousins. And so when that tug of war, played out in the competition, which is, I'm assuming, the Gabriel and Sanders will, at a certain point, you're going to have to part with one of them. And just to get rid of that as much as possible. But here's the thing, CJ, and I know we're getting a little bit further down, but I don't necessarily trust Cleveland's history and track record.
Hey,
I remember I went to Cleveland the year that they drafted Brady Quinn. I went there to cover their minicamp. I was covering the NFL at that point. Brady Quinn, Johnny Manziel, the list goes on and on and on. Deshaun Watson has obviously had his issues and never got any traction there. Now you have Shedeur and Gabriel. Joe Flacco had a minute. He's still on the roster. You just don't know where that direction is going with that franchise at quarterback. Their defense is set. If they can ever get the offense figured out, that team could be a really, really good team.
And maybe Shedeur is a part of what gets that offense figured out. Here's hoping. We got to take a quick break on the other side. I guess we're going to get off topic here a little bit. We got more draft stuff to get to as well, and we got a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame conversation with a great pick six that you guys don't want to miss on HBCU Huddle right here in the Built Ford Tough Studios on Grind City Media.
I never in a million years would have ever thought that John Cena's final run would be as a heel.
I love it.
I love it.
Once they saw this from The Rock.
They knew it. Everybody knew it except for Cody, which was so good.
Great camera work by WWE.
And then the kick. Yeah, I don't think WWE gets enough credit for the camera work and the production quality. I mean, it is incredible.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
We are in March, which is Women's History Month.
True.
And we were talking about how do we kick off the show? What can we talk about? And we were like, why don't we talk about women's shoes? The Sabrina one. Okay.
Can't go
good,
wrong.
right?
That's a good shoe.
And the two, you could argue, is even better. But the one's
you can't
fine.
have the two without the one.
Yeah,
though.
in the month of February, the Sabrina 2 was the second most worn shoe in the NBA in minutes played. The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Debo traded from San Francisco to the Commanders for a 5th-round pick. There's no other sport where you would get a player of his ilk for a 5th-round pick.
Over under total yards for Debo. If they set it at 1,000, you think he hits that over?
Total yards?
Total yards from scrimmage. Total yards.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Would you mind standing in front so everybody could get a good glimpse of this? This can't be the look of the season. This is not the look of the season, Jessica. Like.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back in, everybody. HBCU Huddle, Built Ford Tough Studios, CJ Hurt, Mike Wallace on Grind City Media, GCM Network, family of podcasts. Mike.
Yo.
Let's get off topic real quick.
All right.
You're not gonna go see Sinners?
Yeah.
Everybody in the nation is seeing Sinners.
Yeah. Hey,
it's a cultural moment, Mike.
I'm cool with being culture adjacent on that one, man. And see, here's the thing. Like, just to peel the layers back to me, like I'm somewhat of a movie snob, and I hold movies to a high regard, and I probably take that experience way too seriously, because before I see any movie, I do an extensive amount of research.
Okay.
I read the reviews, and if I'm interested in it, then I've done my research going into it. I feel like Sinners, to me, and I haven't seen it, but I've read as much, I've done as much scouting as I could do on it. Everything about the making of it, the cinematography, the acting, and all of those things, I'm hearing is top notch and brilliant. I just don't like the storyline. I just don't like the undertones. I just don't like the overly wokeness of what they're trying to do in some of the messages as it relates to, traditional Christian values. Right? I don't like the overplay of the racial component of it. I feel like, and it's not just about Sinners. I felt that way. I never saw Get Out. Never saw it. Never will see it. Never wanted to see it. And it was the same cultural phenomenon at that time. And I think it might just be the vision of storytelling that Coogler has. But I love Black Panther. You know what I mean? I absolutely love it. He did that too. I just don't feel, to me, that story resonates to me. And if I can listen to any argument or anything, like, you and I could completely disagree, and we have on the show before, but I respect your ability to reach your decision on what you believe, and I will sit there and engage. But as it relates to going and sitting in a theater, knowing that, man, I'm not feeling this the way that this story is going. And believe me, you're not the first person I've had this conversation with. We've had, as a matter of fact, the Grizzlies probably struggled in one of those. Maybe it was game 2. Because on the way to the arena, that was all we talked about on the bus. The staff and was the movie Sinners. But yeah, that's just where I am with it, man. It's certain certain art, certain creative spaces that take the liberty to put out narratives and information in a certain way, whether it's entertainment or otherwise. I either invest in it or I don't, and I chose not. I'm choosing not to invest my mental bandwidth into that movie.
When you say wokeness, what are you talking about?
Just the whole display of, I mean, it's traditional tropes that go into certain movies that are made like this, right?
Okay.
White man's the devil. It's good. It's black versus white, straight down the line. You on one side or the other. The oversimplification to almost parody and spoofing of traditional Christian values and following God and Christianity, and if you do, then you're something other than a normal person, or you're outdated or you're antiquated because of those views. All of those had sprinklings in that movie, and I say I haven't seen it, but I've pieced together probably 25 clips of it to be able to see where these storylines and things were going. I haven't sat through the entire 90 whatever or 120 minutes of it, but that's where I feel. I mean, again, I don't want to see it, but Kevin and my son Kevin was talking about it in the backseat yesterday. He wants to see it. My wife want to see it. And I'm like, hey, y'all go see it. Go enjoy it. Go enjoy the movie for what it is. It's a movie. It's entertainment. It's vampire themes. It's all of these other things in there. The music is phenomenal. The acting is great. If you love Michael B. Jordan, all good. If you go see it, enjoy it. I'm gonna sit out on this one.
I watched it and I didn't catch negative religious tones in it.
Okay.
Now I'd have to go back and watch because there are religious tones to it. There is what basically amounts to a baptism scene, and there's something there that is being done, and I'm just lost in the story of it, and so I missed.
That's the other thing.
I missed that part of it, and I don't see movies twice in theaters because I don't got money like that, Mike.
That's true. Okay.
But I'm going to go back and see this one just so I can catch and piece together that sort of a thing. And I felt like leaving the theater from a religious standpoint, a spirituality standpoint. I felt like when I left there, the music is the through line to the culture. Mm-hmm. But if the music is coming from the religion, it is the religion that is the backbone of the culture. And I felt like the movie, for me, did a really good job of saying, hey, we start with
the evolution of it,
with nothing more than this, and then we take this, and as it evolves, we get this really beautiful sort of thing that emerges. And that's how I left it from. That's how I left the theaters the first time, on the theme of religion as it pertains to the down the line nature of black versus white. Like it's a movie in the 30s. Wasn't that what society was at that time? When you think about the Jim Crow era South, and you think about the oppression that black people were facing it by the hands of whites as well. That's, to me, that movie was it. The movie can be split into two different parts.
That's part of it. What I heard. Yeah.
The split happens when the one of the most beautiful scenes in all of cinema takes place at the party. From that point, from that point to the start of the movie, so start of the movie to that point, it is a time period piece, and then from that point to the end of the movie, it becomes a vampire thing, and it gets
that's the other part.
I think that the beginning part is I can't see anything other than, okay, they're just telling what it was like in the South.
It was set in that time
for a black person.
And that's the other thing too, and I didn't get to that in my initial comments, is that there were so many disconnected themes that you had to come together and try to figure out, okay, why and when and what is the point of this as it relates to this? Is it this to this to that? So it was, I've heard that. And even people who love the movie said that they were confused by the chronology and the how everything came together in terms of where were we supposed to be going with this. There was some intentional and unintentional sort of cliffhangery type, cliffhanger-ish type things.
I think that
from that standpoint.
those things get solved by watching it again. I think it's so much
But yeah, I
happening.
mean,
It's
like,
so much happening, so much to digest.
Yeah.
That you're not able to
And
comprehend it all in one sitting.
But is that overdoing it though?
If
Right,
can I ask you this?
Mm-hmm.
If it was a book, would it be overdoing it if you'd have to read the book multiple times to gather the messaging?
Yes,
and if every
yes.
time you read the book, there was a different thing you took away from it?
Yeah, there are definitely some books that I felt like, man, I'm gonna finish a book no matter how long it takes me because I don't like stopping books.
Right.
That's just a pet peeve of mine, right? So if it takes me 2 months to finish a book, it's gonna take me 2 months. And then I will never look at that book again. I can absolutely hate the experience of reading it, but I'm going to finish it before I reach my conclusion on it. But yes, so I mean, whether it's movies, whether it's books, there's some, there's a period, and just to take this to another creative space, like John Coltrane is one of my favorite artists of all time in any creative space. There were 2 or 3 of his in his catalog, 2 or 3 albums and CDs in his catalog where he even admitted, I'm all over the place. And that's just part of what I am. Don't try to figure it out. Just grind through it and get through it, because where I was in that space, in that studio at that time, was me unpacking a lot of S. And you're not going to understand it, but embrace it. So I'm fine with that. I don't dislike the movie. I'm just choosing not to invest my space into that. That's all. So like I said, I'm critical of it in terms of what I want. But again, like, I guess there's a certain amount of movies that I need to see that's going to take me through the same, stereotypical or traditional themes before I realize, all right, I've seen enough of that. Like,
Okay.
I'll pass. Hey, enjoy it, but I'll pass.
I feel that way about the inspirational movies. Like I didn't see Thurgood. I didn't see Selma. I didn't see, 42. It was like, okay, I can't be inspired anymore. I can't. I just can't. When who was it? Bernie Mac was in it. Who else was in the swim movie? The first all black swim team.
Oh yeah.
We got
Pride.
We had Pride, and then we had the Texas Western movie, Glory Road.
Glory Road.
Boom Boom. I was like, all right, I'm out. I'm done. I'm inspired. I'm good. I can't keep doing these movies.
Yeah.
I understand that component.
This one. What was the other one that just came out too? And it was with Lupita, and same kind of thing. It was like a sci-fi black move into the sci-fi space movie. It just came out maybe like 3 months ago.
All right, do you remember what else was going on?
It was
in
Lupita,
I'm gonna look it up.
And it was I want to say Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele was the director of it. It just recently came out.
Not Us.
Yeah, Us. Yeah, Us.
You got to think about scary movies, Mike. I think.
No, it ain't even that. It's just like I'm not.
Us, I watched Us.
Yeah.
I don't think Us is near as complex.
Oh, it's not. It's not. But what I'm saying is that type of director is similar. I think Coogler and Peele have some similarities in terms of what they're trying to say. And I think some of what they've gone through in their experiences in life as they search for their center and what their meaning is, I think that comes out in some of the things that they do on screen. No different than Spike Lee.
What do you think they're trying to say?
I think in a lot of ways they're culturally divided. I think they're looking for an identity. I think that it's easy for them to feel a certain way based on. I feel like in a lot of ways it's the Kaepernick thing. Kaepernick had to reach back to claim his level of blackness, and as he was going back through that experience, because that's what he's mixed race is, his discovery led him to do some things that a lot of people will be like, man, we go through this every single day. Why is this something that all of a sudden now? It's something that because you have a platform now, the whole world has to go through what you're going through. We all have that lens and we all have our way of expressing ourselves. But I'm real critical of what I'm intaking into my mental space and what it's saying. Just like I try to be a sort of a what do you call it? A gatekeeper of what information that flows into my household or into my children's heads, or as they see things. Like when Kevin goes to see it, I want to sit down with him and hey, what did you get out of it? And he might just say, that was a real cool vampire movie.
Yeah.
And it's nothing else.
Yeah.
But in this political environment, in this environment where socioeconomics, gender issues, racial relations, and all of those things are so prevalent. Like, you got to really, really be careful about which space you're going to be led into from certain things in terms of that. And that's just me. Like I said, I support going to see it. I'm just choosing not to.
That was supposed to be a quick conversation. It was not a quick conversation.
Yeah.
Got to take a break. We'll come
again?
back. Yeah, we got to do it again.
Well, let's get on track finally.
Yeah, we're going to
let's get on track.
We're going to do some more NFL draft. We're going to do Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and more coming up next on HBCU Huddle on the Grind City Media Network.
Yeah, let's get.
We touched on this earlier, the panel here, about what really has been the mainstay of the Grizzlies, and that's Jaren Jackson Jr. Trip has just been awesome.
He's posting guys up. He's stronger than he's ever been. He's physical, and he's scoring all type of ways.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Tony was the defensive guy, but Zebo was the offensive guy. So you could speak to this. It's way worse when you're getting doubled, right?
You got triple. I had went through that for when I was in Portland. Me on the team, you got triple. You hear me, Rose? You can't talk about double. You got to talk about triple.
You got triple team.
This man was scoring on 3 dudes.
Swing, TA.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. We will get into all things Grizzlies, but first and foremost, a big congratulations to the Memphis Tigers for locking up at least a share of the AAC title. First time since joining the American Athletic Conference that they are regular season conference champs.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
I see people who look like me and were born probably in the same decade as me, watching all of these young people jump into the transfer portal and saying, it's ridiculous. You got to stop thinking about this like it's a normal college experience. It is not. You know what the priority is? Maximize your earning potential for every year of eligibility you have left. That's what this is about now. These are jobs.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We back, and we're back on track, Mike.
Not yet.
We're back, and we're back on track.
You got to get us there.
Carson Vinison got drafted, Mike. The mountain of a man out of Alabama A&M, offensive lineman out of Alabama A&M, first team all SWAC this year. He was selected in the 5th round, I think 3 picks ahead of Shedeur. Yeah, 3 picks ahead of Shedeur. One of 8 FCS players drafted. We're claiming Jackson State is claiming Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders, and I think rightfully so because of the transfer portal stuff. But this is the only HBCU player who was drafted who is currently
directly
on
from
an HBCU roster. He said in a tweet, quote, "Bulldog Nation, the HBCU family, I'm so blessed and humbled to be put in this position. I'm forever grateful. Me and the other dogs in this HBCU draft class will make y'all proud over the next years. Ravens flock," purple heart emoji, black heart emoji. Let's go. So listen, he's excited to be there. The Ravens are excited to have him. He is, if nothing else, a large individual, and I look forward to seeing from the scouts standpoint. I think they think he's still a little bit raw, but you can't pass on somebody who's got that type of size, that type of athleticism. And we've seen HBCU offensive linemen get to the NFL and be really, really successful.
Oh, no question about it. I mean, Howard, Terrence, not Terrence Howard. Terrence
Armstead?
Teron Armstead. But and different guys. I mean, you can go over the years and find offensive linemen, as you said. Most recently, a young man from Arkansas Pine Bluff ended up down there with the Saints. You have the young brother that's with the Texans that got drafted as well too a few years ago. It's one of those things where that kind of size, as you said, that kind of footwork and that kind of upside, and he's going to a run rugged offensive line. So he's going to have that. He's going to have the opportunity to bring that physicality to Baltimore and be in that offensive line rotation. Obviously we always pull for these guys that are coming from HBCUs, but it's not just about coming from HBCUs. It's about coming from HBCUs, getting an opportunity to show that, hey, it doesn't matter where you were. It's about what you have an opportunity to do moving forward.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, one HBCU player was drafted, or one player who came straight from an HBCU roster to the NFL was drafted, but we do have notable HBCU undrafted free agent signings.
Yep.
Jaden Sutton from Delaware State. He's a Baltimore Raven. He was all MEAC first team. Kendall Bowler, starting defensive back out of FAMU. Denver Broncos. Aaron Smith from South Carolina State, first team all MEAC. Tremendous linebacker. He's on the Eagles. Joquan Davis from North Carolina Central. He's made it to the Broncos, second team all MEAC selection. One of the best wide receivers in the MEAC. And Shiloh Sanders from Jackson State / Colorado got to the Tampa Bay Bucks, Mike.
Yeah. Shiloh, man, that's going to be funny. That's going to be interesting right there because a lot of people wasn't sure whether he had NFL potential or not. He's going to have it. He can hit. And that's funny. It's funny. He can hit, but he can't necessarily tackle. You know what I'm saying?
But it's a lot of that's a plague. It's a lot of that in football, man. Do you think I've realized basketball?
You say that's a plague.
poor tackling and poor shot selection in basketball. Those are the two things that make me hot in the ears. That'll get me no matter what I'm doing, yelling at the TV, and I don't even care who's winning. I just hate to see those things. But there's a lot of people out here making millions of dollars who can't tackle. They'll hit you. They'll hit you. They won't wrap up. They won't keep their legs moving. I don't know what coaches must be thinking watching these dudes out there playing. They got to be screaming, we practiced it. We told y'all about this.
I know. That's a good point, though, man. I also can't stand to see a guy, a defensive back, run up on a guy, grab the football, and let him get carried for 7 yards, trying to strip the football, and then finally tackle him.
That's
you know what I'm saying? Like
your job, if you're the first one there,
stop momentum.
Stop him, stand him up, and let somebody else come and try and pick the ball out. We got 8 notable HBCU minicamp invites. So here's the difference in free agent signings and minicamps. Free agent signings, you're a part of, I think, the 96-man roster. So you'll go into the preseason on roster, and then for those of you who don't know, NFL teams cut from that 96 down to 53. Minicamp invites, you get a chance to go to a minicamp and try out to get onto the 96-man. Miles Crawley, Grambling State quarterback to the New York Giants. Irv Mulligan, the SWAC Offensive Player of the Year, SWAC rushing yards per game leader, 13th player in JSU history with 1,000-yard rushing season, is on the Giants.
Hold up, the Giants, man, because didn't they also get that Scottaboo guy from Arizona State in the last round?
Yep.
That's going to be a nice little running back room in training camp, man.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. That's going to be interesting. Now, circle that and say pay attention to it. Quantez Mainsfield out of North Carolina Central. He's on to the Minnesota Vikings. And Elijah Williams from Morgan State to the Minnesota Vikings camp. MEAC Defensive Player of the Year.
Yes.
Morgan State all-time leader in sacks. 8th in the FCS in sacks this season, what I do believe 11. I think he ended his career with 31 total sacks
at Morgan State. He had a great career there. A great career there. Yep, absolutely.
So, shout out to all of them. Tip of the cap to them, Mike. Do you got any advice for these young men? Right, like you've covered mini camps, you've covered preseason football and regular season football. You've covered it all. What's something that you can tell them on their journey to try and make it to the NFL?
Stand out. And I'm not just saying that when practice starts. Like, stand out on your way to the facility in the mornings, right? Be the first one there. Stand out when you're in your meeting rooms. Ask the most questions. Not that you don't know things, but that you're engaged. Read your playbook that they give you before you show up. Like, you have to have a knowledge of it, and just being able to ask questions to show that you've done the work before you get to the field. And when you get on the field, man, run everything out, no matter what. The whistle blows, so be it. Guess what? The guy that's going to catch the coach's attention is a guy that's continuing to run from the 40 to the 30 to the 20 to the 10 to the end zone when the whistle blew at the 40, right? Like, that's the kind of stuff that stands out in mini camps because you're in shells. You're not even in full gear. You have to do something to say, okay, I'm here because of this. And hang your hat on that, man. And that's basically it, man. Go in there knowing something about the team before they have to ask you about what you know. And then that'll be the first step right there.
Absolutely. Good luck to all those young men. I'm sure we'll get more HBCU mini camp invites. I look forward to seeing which one of these men make it through
to the next
minicamp,
step. Yeah.
to the preseason. We'll be keeping track of all of that. All right, last break, Mike.
All right.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Great pick six for you. Outkast is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We're going to do our 6 favorite Outkast songs up next on HBCU Huddle on the Built For Tough Studios on Grind City Media.
I see people who look like me and were born probably in the same decade as me, watching all of these young people jump into the transfer portal and saying, it's ridiculous. You got to stop thinking about this like it's a normal college experience. It is not. You know what the priority is? Maximize your earning potential for every year of eligibility you have left. That's what this is about now. These are jobs.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Yesterday was the talk of the town. It was a cow on the side of the road.
Do you live close to a movie theater? I'm just curious because maybe the cow was trying to go to the movies.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
The new issue of Slam, the cover dropped, and it is our friend Jaron Jackson Jr. on the cover.
And shout out to you, Lane.
Yeah.
You kept. Well, I mean, we knew about it, but you kept this a secret the whole time. So shout out to you. For
I wrote
putting
this story.
together.
We did the photo shoot a couple weeks ago here on a Sunday afternoon in the practice court. The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Debo traded from San Francisco to the Commanders for a 5th-round pick. There's no other sport where you would get a player of his ilk for a 5th-round pick.
Over under total yards for Debo. If they set it at 1,000, you think he hits that over?
Total yards?
Total yards from scrimmage. Total yards.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back in HBCU Huddle. Follow me on Twitter. I'm CJ at ConRadicalness. Follow Mike on Twitter at MyMikeCheck. Before we get to our 6 favorite Outkast songs, oh boy, Kyra's gonna be mad at me. Sad news: Dick Barnett passed away. One of those older basketball players who kind of get lost through time if you weren't around to see him play, but his impact was undeniable. Nicknamed Fallback Baby because of his unique jump shot where he jumps up and he literally kicks his heels into his into his hamstrings when he shoots. Nicknamed Skull Barnett because they said that when you looked at him on the court, he had such a competitive fire and intensity to him. Yeah, all you saw were blacks in his eyes and his teeth when he was smiling after making a bucket. From Gary, Indiana. I don't know what the hell was in the Gary, Indiana water around that time. But one of those talented individuals from Gary, Indiana ends up going to Tennessee A&I, where he was a part of a major part, 2-time tournament MVP in the NAIA tournament, the first black school to not only compete at the NAIA level, but to win championships at the NAIA level. He was an NBA All-Star, 2-time champion for those New York Knicks in the 70s, 70 and 73, 2-time NAIA tournament MVP. His number 12 is retired both by the New York Knicks and by Tennessee State. Mike, what's...
Yeah. A pioneer with a legacy. The way he played, it was his own unique style, and he was a winner. And that's the thing. You're talking about 5 championships in a short span of time right there in terms of his career. He didn't play forever, but everywhere he went, he impacted with winning. His athleticism was ahead of his time in terms of how he played and the skill set that he played with from everything that I've read and studied about him. And the fact that he represents Tennessee State and came back and continued to pursue his education up to getting a PhD tells me everything I need to know about these guys aren't just going here. They know basketball is only one phase of their life. They're going to be something other than a basketball player far longer than they're going to be a basketball player.
He didn't realize that until he got to the pros and tore his Achilles and came back.
And he knew he had another chapter in his life, man. So, that's a milestone. That's a pioneer, and that's someone that's going to be, his legacy should not and will not be forgotten as long as you look up to the rafters and sees his number 12, and he gets his story told every now and then in terms of the memories that we have of him.
There's a great PBS documentary called The Dream Whisperer, where it follows him in his quest to get that Tennessee State or Tennessee A&I team into the Hall of Fame, into the Hall of Fame, the Basketball Hall of Fame. And one of the things that stood out is a great documentary. It's about an hour long. I don't know how, if you're a Tennessee State student, you don't have to watch that. And one of the things they do is they go on Tennessee State's campus and ask the current students, hey, have you ever heard of this team? Do you know anything about them? And they all, to a man and woman, say, no, we have no clue. That's got to be an orientation or something like that, because their story is so incredible. One of the things that stood out to me, though, they win the championship in either 57 or 58. I might be 57. And they go straight from winning the championship back to Nashville, not to celebrate, not to party. They go to the lunch counter sit-ins. I lived in Nashville, and I don't know how I knew about the lunch counter sit-ins, because I guarantee you I wasn't learning about them in school. But that generation of person who participated in those, we revered them in Nashville, right? There was an honor to being able to do that, and I can't imagine. You win a championship, you're supposed to be out partying, not fighting for civil rights, not participating in one of the biggest movements in this nation's history. But no, he and the rest of that basketball team went out there with John Lewis and participated in downtown sit-ins at lunch counters, which is incredible stuff. Again, it's called Dream Whisperer. If you hadn't seen it, PBS has it. It's great. It's free. Easy to watch, real informative, a whole lot of fun. Speaking of a whole lot of fun, Mike, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has made their announcements. They've got inductees into this year's class. How Mariah Carey didn't get in is beyond me, but there's always next year. Bad Company, Tom Bell, Chubby Checker, Joe Cocker, Nikki Hopkins, Carol Kay, Cyndi Lauper, Outkast, Salt and Pepper, Soundgarden, Lenny Waronker, the White Stripes, and Warren Zevon. They get in. Outkast is the one that stood out to me.
Cyndi Lauper got in ahead of Mariah Carey?
I would imagine Lauper has been on the ballot before. That's my guess. Either way it goes.
And I'm not disparaging. I'm not disparaging Cyndi Lauper, because I'm familiar with her music. I heard it, but wow, yeah. I guess it's just a matter. They can only let in so many, and depending on how many times you've gotten in, or how many times you've come up for voting and consideration, you eventually get in. But yeah, that's an interesting list, man. And you said we were going to focus on Outkast. Okay. All right.
So we're going to do our pick six favorite Outkast songs in honor of Outkast being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The South got something to say, and they'll say it from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'll get things started. I'll go Get Up, Get Out, the song with Goody Mob. Get out and get something. You got to get up, get out and get something. Southern Play Illicit, Cadillac It. Southern Play Illicit, Cadillac Music is just such a fun beat to me, such a banger to me. I love it every time I hear it. It makes me smile. It's perfect summer music to me. Roses. The split Speaker Box Love Below. Love that album. That album came out. I was in high school, and when it came out, that's all we were listening to in our cars. Excuse me. Speaking of Speaker Box Love Below, I Like the Way You Move. Just such a good song, such a
music
fun
too.
song,
the music
good
to
music.
It,
Just good beat, good lyrics, just something to bop about too. So Fresh and So Clean.
So Fresh, So Clean.
So Fresh, So Clean is great. They brought out all the people from Atlanta for that music video. Remember seeing Goody Mob, TLC Chili specifically being in that video. Outstanding. And then B.O.B.
Don't pass me. Keep going. I'm going to give you a soundtrack.
You got it. Bombs Over Baghdad, baby. That is
a
great hype song. If you're doing one of those like uplifting hype playlists, like get you up and get you going. B.O.B. is it. The drums on B.O.B.?
Man.
Good stuff. stuff. Good stuff right there. So that's my list. Mike, what about you?
Hey, so depending, are we going to roll them out one at a time?
No,
or we're going to just flash them?
Flash them.
Okay, so in no order. So my order starts at the top, Skewing on the Barbie. I mean, I just love that entire album right there, right? I think that was Aquemini, right? That was, oof. I'm feeling that one so much to this day. Skewing on the Barbie was also great in terms of music and the beat. Jezebel, the one with Babyface singing in the background. It doesn't get any smoother than that until you hear So Fresh, So Clean.
So Fresh, So Clean is such a smooth song, man.
That's what I'm saying. Rosa Parks, because of the interest it generated and the discussions that it caused in terms of, is this art? Is it making fun of something that shouldn't? Like everything around that song, I thought Outkast handled beautifully, even including the respect that they had for Rosa Parks in that came out. Elevators is the most creative.
Me and you.
Yes. Your mama and your cousin too.
Every time I hear somebody say me and you, I
just go to the next one, right? Your mama and your cousin too. And then Andre 3000's second bar on that is just phenomenal. I think that's his best bar that he's done, and he's tremendous. And then listen, man, Miss Jackson. I could play that when it came out, and it's a banger. My adult kids loved it when they were little, and even my youngest kids. So it's transitioned for 20, 25 years or whatever, maybe even 30 years at this point. Miss Jackson, man, and at that time, like, oh my God, Big Boy's verse was one that I probably could have wrote myself for what was going on in my life at that time. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things, man. If you heard it and you know he was speaking from the heart from that one, yo. But all good. Great. Congratulations to Outkast, man. One of the greatest groups, if not the greatest rap group that ever existed.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Outkast. Congratulations to all the HBCU players who got drafted, to those going to make their way through minicamp, those signed through undrafted free agency. Congrats to all of them. Look forward to seeing what they can do. And thank you guys for watching and listening to us. This episode will be back, not next week, but the week after that. So come back and join us, please, if you don't mind. For Mike, I'm CJ. We'll talk to you later.